How does Arteta get Arsenal to win the Champions League? That's the question I'm asking today. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're all having a good day. So I'm going to get straight into it. I'm not going to do any sort of introduction to this. How does Arteta get Arsenal to win the Champions League this season? So the league is gone. Okay, we are 10 games, 11 games away from the end of the season now, and the league's gone. We can give up on that, and I think that's a good thing in a way. You know, it's finally over. We can let that one go. That one's gone. Now we can focus on the Champions League, okay? And our record in the Champions League is actually pretty abysmal outside of that final we've had, basically. All them years ago, 20 years ago now. So I think Arteta needs to focus on this, and he needs a good performance in the Champions League to actually kind of save the season a little bit. So obviously, league position is going to be the same as the past 2 years. FA Cup's the same as the past 2 years. Carabao Cup, we whimpered out in the semi-finals. So he actually does need a very good cup run somewhere to try and save the season. I think if he got to the semi-finals and you went out in a close game against a good team, potentially the winners, maybe you'd be like, yeah, fair enough, like that can happen, you know. But I think if we go out in the quarters, even if it's to Real Madrid, I think, which it looks like it might be Real Madrid we place in the quarters, I still look at that and go, it's not the strongest Real Madrid side ever, you know, and you have to play them eventually, you know. Liverpool have already beaten Real Madrid this season, so it is possible. It's not like they're this mega team that's unbeatable this season. Liverpool have done it already, so yeah. But I was thinking about it because we're not going to get these players back. Like I don't know what everyone else thinks, but we cannot win a Champions League player Mourinho up front. If we do, Arteta is like the greatest manager in history of managers, because I don't think it's ever happened that someone's won with literally a player who plays in a double pivot really up front. It's not like he's a 10. It's not like when Spain played Fabregas in the false 9 in the Euros. He's not even a 10. He's an 8 at most, you know. So that cannot be the remedy long term for this season. You know, it's coming in with a couple months to go now. We need to see some sort of adventure with our attack. Saka should hopefully be back in April, and that will give us a bit of more freedom, I think. And I think the solution I would like Arteta to try is to put Nwaneri as a false 9. Now, he mentioned playing Nwaneri as a 9 previously, and I think people kind of just shrugged it off a little bit, but I think he could potentially do the job as a false 9. He holds onto the ball really well. He'll need to learn how to protect the ball a bit better in the Premier League if he's going to work there. But I think he could definitely do a job there because of how well he holds that ball up in terms of his dribbling ability. Yeah, I think he could just get away from defenders just from that, and he'd win a lot of fouls. So I really wanted to try that out. I think when Saka comes back, you're going to have him replace Nwaneri in this team with the form he's been in. And it's not like we have a load of superstars right now, you know. Martinelli, you're going to have to probably play on the left wing, him or Trossard. Up for debate who you pick there. I don't think it really matters. I think I'd rather start Martinelli for the first 60 minutes of games, bring on Trossard half an hour to go in the Champions League, like what we did against Bayern Munich last year. Midfield, I think you've just got to stick with what we know now. Partey, Odegaard, Rice. You just keep it as that, and I think you hope the best of Odegaard can come out when Saka's back. And also, I think with Nwaneri, it's quite interesting when you think about Nwaneri, Saka, Odegaard. They all favour that right-hand side. They're all left-footed. So it would be an interesting dynamic, because would it crowd out that side too much? I think if you've got intelligent players, they can make it work, you know. That's my opinion on it. I think they're all good enough to be able to work it out as well, and they could rotate as well. That's the thing, you could rotate them around. Like if Saka comes inside, pause. You could have Nwaneri dropping back out, Odegaard going beyond and stuff. Like it's quite exciting what you could do with that three. It's not the long-term solution, obvious. Well, You would think it's not a long-term solution. If it went well, you never know. But I think that's definitely a way we could get the best out of all three of them, which we'll have to do if we want to win the Champions League. Like, there's no playing around with it. You have to get the best out of those three if we're going to have a chance to win the Champions League. Which sounds crazy to say Nwaneri in that bracket, but I think if you get the best out of Nwaneri with the other two, mate, like that means you've got 3 chances of scoring goals. Basically, that's how I look at it. And I definitely think he's got the capabilities to play in that false 9. I don't want to say shades of Messi with the way he handles the ball, but there are shades of Messi with the way he handles the ball. He hasn't got, obviously, the finishing ability of a Lionel Messi, but he's definitely got an eye for a goal. So I don't see the harm in trying it. If I was Arteta, I would actually be looking at it and thinking, I want to try it in the league soon. I think it's better to try it now while the league's dead, basically, for us, you know. I don't think I'd try against United this weekend, but I think in some of the lesser games, especially at home, when you're going to dominate the ball, I think it's a great chance to try and get him to play in those little holes in behind the midfield, and it's going to be interesting. Oh god, sorry, there's a lot of traffic coming around right now. But yeah, I think that's definitely one way we could see the best of Nwaneri, and I think there's definitely potential in there, because the way with a false 9 that it works, obviously, is they get so much freedom to do what they want, and with those sort of players, you wouldn't just give them freedom, because also take away the defensive responsibilities that Arteta's probably apprehensive of giving him in the midfield, you know. So yeah, I think that's definitely one thing he should be looking to do. I think he's going to have to be careful with how he manages Miles Lewis-Skelly, because he needs experience, but he needs to be careful with suspensions and sending things off, and maybe bring Calafiori into it more, into the later stages of the knockouts. Yeah, I think that's another area that we're going to have to talk about. Otherwise, I think you've got to keep Rice and Odegaard fit. Not even a question. Them two have to stay fit. Rest them as much as you can in the league. Keep Partey wrapped in wool as well, because those three are going to be the heartbeat of the team. And also, just don't rush Saka back. There's no need to rush Saka back. You know, we're going to have an international break soon. We're out the cups, so we're going to have weekends off. Saka shouldn't be going on England duty, which means that he should get even more rest, which means April would have given him, for a 3-month injury, he would have had nearly 4 months. So it's almost perfect. And he'll be back in time for the quarterfinals, hopefully, is the hope. Yeah. In terms of anything else that he needs to be looking at, I think he just needs to make sure that the defence stays solid, and just basically we just need to hope that Real Madrid have some off days when we play them. But I think the big one that I think he needs to try is that Nwaneri in the false 9 position, and getting Calafiori ready to go for when we need him. And Ben White, actually, thinking about it now, Ben White is going to be massive for us. I think we can see the drop off between, it's harsh to say there's a drop off between him and Timber. It's not necessarily there's a drop off between him and Timber, it's the fact that he just works so much better on that right side with Saka. I think my back 4 is either White, Saliba, Gabriel, and then at left back it depends on the opponent. I think if you've got Real Madrid, you play Timber in there, you know. I think he's just better defensively than Calafiori, and Lewis-Skelly, he's still very good on the ball, can still take on his man, but he's just a bit more assured at the back. I think if you play in the league, give Miles Lewis-Skelly the league minutes, you know, get him playing in the league, because he is killing it in the league. Maybe Champions League is not quite ready for it yet. I think we saw against PSV that he was a bit naive with his defending, and if you do that against Rodrigo from Madrid, you're going to get killed. He would have probably got sent off if he's up against Rodrigo, you know. So yeah, I think that's my key key areas I'm looking at is Ben White, Nwaneri, and left back. Making sure you're consistent there, and also not rushing Saka back. So there's a few things that Arteta can do now to give ourselves the best chance of winning the Champions League. And like I said, if we do play Real Madrid in the quarterfinals, they're not the perfect team right now. I know they've got Mbappe and Vinny and stuff, but we should have learnt from last season with what happened against Bayern. We should be more experienced now, and we should at least give them a good tie, you know? It shouldn't be dead after the first... Well, we weren't dead and buried after the Bayern Munich game last year, but it felt like it was dead, you know, with the loss at home. That's what we need to learn from last year. We need to see a better result than last year. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. If you have any other ideas or comments or topics you want me to talk about, let me know below. Thank you. Have a good weekend. Bye.